There's a specific reason certain people can insult you, provoke you, try everything to get a reaction and completely fail. And it's not because they're naturally patient or emotionally numb, it's because they understand something most people never learn, which is that anger isn't actually triggered by what someone says to you. It's triggered by what you let that statement mean about you. And once you separate those two things, almost nothing anyone says can touch you the same way again. The first thing to understand is what's happening biologically in the moment someone tries to provoke you. There's a structure in your brain that fires faster than your rational thinking does. It's designed for physical threats, not verbal ones, but it doesn't know the difference. So when someone insults you, your body reacts as if you're actually in danger before your logical mind even gets a vote. And staying calm isn't about pretending that reaction doesn't happen. It's about recognizing it fast enough to stop it from taking the wheel. The first trick, and one almost nobody uses correctly, is naming the tactic out loud in your own head the second you sense it happening. Literally thinking the words, "This is a provocation," the instant someone starts pushing. Because the second you consciously label what's happening, you shift from being inside the emotional reaction to observing it from outside, and that shift alone, just naming it, cuts a huge amount of its power before it even has a chance to build. Second, there's a concept from crisis negotiation called the golden 2 seconds, the tiny window right after a provocation lands where whatever you do next determines the entire direction of the conversation, and trained negotiators are taught to physically slow their breathing in that window, not because breathing is magic, but because slow, controlled breath sends a direct signal to your nervous system that you're not actually in danger, which interrupts the anger response before it fully activates. Third, and this is something most advice completely misses, the person trying to provoke you is almost always testing for a specific reaction. They've usually done this before with other people, and they have an expected script running in their head of how you're supposed to respond. So the fastest way to disarm them isn't staying silent or walking away dramatically. It's giving them a response so unexpected that their entire script breaks. Something calm and slightly curious like, "Why does this matter so much to you?" Because that question doesn't fight their attack. It steps completely outside the frame they built for you to react inside of. Fourth, here's something almost nobody talks about. Physical stance matters more than people realize in these moments. When we feel attacked, our body naturally wants to square up, shoulders tighten, jaw clenches, and that physical tension actually feeds the emotional escalation happening in your head. It's not just an effect of anger, it's a cause of more anger. So consciously dropping your shoulders and unclenching your jaw during a tense exchange isn't just about looking calm. It physically slows the emotional spiral because your brain reads your own body's tension as confirmation that the threat is real. Fifth, there's a subtle trap worth knowing about, which is that most people confuse staying calm with staying silent, and those are not the same thing at all. Silence under provocation can actually look like you're absorbing the hit, like the words landed and you're stunned, but calm engagement, responding evenly, maybe even with a small amount of genuine curiosity about why the other person is escalating, communicates something completely different. It says the attack didn't work, and that distinction changes how the entire interaction is remembered afterward by both of you. If you've ever walked away from an argument replaying the perfect calm response you wish you'd said in the moment, that's completely normal. Your brain needed time outside the pressure to access the logical part that provocation temporarily shut down, and recognizing that pattern is actually the first step to catching it faster next time. Sixth, timing plays a bigger role here than people expect. The loudest, most aggressive provocations usually aren't the most dangerous ones to respond to because everyone can see them coming. The ones that actually get under your skin are quiet, almost casual jabs, dropped mid-conversation like they're nothing, precisely because their casualness makes them harder to call out without you looking like you're overreacting. And the trick with these isn't confronting them immediately. It's letting a beat of silence sit after they're said, because that pause alone often makes the person aware of exactly what they just did without you having to say a word. Seventh, there's something worth understanding about why certain people specifically try to provoke calm people more than reactive ones, and it's almost always about control. Someone who reacts instantly, who gets visibly rattled, gives the provoker exactly the confirmation they're looking for, that they still have power over that person's emotional state. But someone who stays level denies them that confirmation entirely, and repeated enough times, most people eventually stop trying to provoke someone who consistently refuses to give them anything to work with, because the behavior stops being rewarding. Eighth, and this is the part that actually changes how you handle future situations, staying calm doesn't mean suppressing what you're feeling in the moment. It means choosing when and how to express it on your own terms, later, in a controlled setting, rather than in the heat of someone else's timeline, because anger expressed reactively almost always serves the other person's narrative, while anger processed and expressed deliberately afterward, if it's even still necessary, serves yours. Ninth, there's a specific mental reframe worth practicing that shifts everything. Instead of asking yourself, how do I not get angry right now? Which puts your focus directly on the emotion you're trying to avoid. Ask, what does this person actually want from me right now? Because that question moves your attention away from your own internal state and onto the mechanics of what's happening. And it's almost impossible to stay fully swept up in anger while your brain is actively analyzing someone else's motive. And the 10th piece, the one that ties all of this together, is understanding that staying calm under provocation was never about winning the exchange in the moment. It's about protecting your ability to think clearly for everything that comes after it, because the version of you that reacts in anger makes decisions, says things, and burns relationships that the calm version of you would never have chosen. And every time you manage to stay level when someone's trying to knock you off balance, you're not just handling that one moment, you're proving to yourself that your emotional state belongs to you and nobody else gets to operate it from the outside. So here's what actually matters once this video ends. The people who provoke others aren't usually looking for a conversation. They're looking for a reaction they can use. And the moment you stop supplying that reaction, you take away the entire point of the attempt. And over time, staying calm stops being something you have to work at in the moment and starts becoming the thing people simply know about you, which is one of the quietest but most powerful reputations a person can build.